Hello and welcome here to TalkFCB, and welcome back to the channel here today, guys, where we are all still in such good spirits following that really encouraging win at the weekend over Valencia. And of course now we're getting excited for the UEFA Champions League. We are back in action on Thursday coming up against Newcastle, and today we're going to be talking about that game a little bit already, thinking about some really key selection dilemmas that Hansi Flick has ahead of that game. We're going to be talking all about that. We've got an update on the Spotify Camp Nou, the latest twists and turns in the stadium saga, and we also have fitness updates too on Lamine Yamal and Frenkie de Jong. It is all on the way. Loving the energy right now on the channel, guys. So let's do it. Because indeed, guys, if you are getting a little bit impatient about waiting for the new Spotify Camp Nou, as we're going to talk about today, well, why not just build your own? Because today's video is coming to you courtesy of Cada Bricks, who have released this gem. I absolutely love this Spotify Camp Nou. It is officially licensed, and of course it is the old stadium in all of its glory, because we have so many legendary, iconic moments in this stadium. And it was a pleasure to build. I actually built it myself here, and it was so enjoyable to sort of see it come to life bit by bit, brick by brick. And I built a lot of Lego in my time. I use it as a way to relax, to be perfectly honest. And the brick quality here from Cada, it is absolutely top quality. And not only the build itself, which is fun, which is enjoyable, but then you get the showpiece. You know, at the end of it, you've got this stadium here, the Camp Nou, that you can just put on a shelf and you can enjoy it. You can soak in all of those memories once it's done. And guys, if you head over to Cada right now, I have a discount code for you. Simply use TalkFCB Cada for 5% off your order. And of course, by following the link in the description down below, you will be helping the channel. And I just know, though, you would love this build. But I would actually like to begin right here today, guys, with some breaking news that we had in the footballing world yesterday regarding Samuel Umtiti, because he has now officially retired from the game at just the age of 31 years old. Now, of course, to all of us, it's not a massive surprise. We know that he had really bad knee issues that ultimately here brought his footballing career to a premature end. But of course, we don't forget that he was outstanding for Barca in a sort of 2-season period there between 2016 and 2018, when he became one of the most exciting young emerging centre-backs in the game. He was an absolute joy to watch at his best. He really was. But of course then came that knee injury, when of course Umtiti ultimately decided his career in that moment, when he decided not to have surgery, simply so that he could go away, play the World Cup with France that summer, and ultimately he sacrificed his whole career from that moment on for that World Cup title. Now, at the same time, from a Barca point of view, I wish that he hadn't done that, because also remember, he was on very big money at that time at the club, and then it was really difficult to get him off that wage bill when he had so many injury problems as a result of that decision. But from his point of view, I mean, he got a World Cup title, which is the pinnacle of most people's careers. So ultimately, he will probably say, I'll take that. But it was a shame to see how his career went. He only played about 13 games for Lille ever since leaving Barcelona for good, and it is now the end for Umtiti in the professional game, which is a real shame, given the huge potential that he once had. There's also been more big news over the past 24 hours. I mean, whether you class this as big news, it's up to you, but can I just say that Ed Sheeran will appear as the Spotify artist on the front of the Barca kit in the upcoming Classico, of course. That's going to be coming to us at the end of October, and you can let me know in the comments down below, do you like the fact that Ed Sheeran is going to be on the front of that, or do you not like that? You know, in my personal opinion, I don't actually have an opinion, so you can let me know in the comments down below what you think of that decision. But let's move on here, guys, to the whole situation surrounding the Spotify Camp Nou, because of course at the weekend against Valencia, we played at Estadio Johan Cruyff in front of what was a very small crowd, but at the same time, it did feel quite intimate. You know, in some sort of way, it felt as though it was quite a nice, snug stadium, because obviously at Montjuic, you've got that massive running track all the way round, and I think the fans sort of felt a bit disjointed, you know, a bit cut away from the field. But I think at Estadio Johan Cruyff, it's a great playing surface. It's a really close stadium there, and the noise and the atmosphere was actually a lot better than I was expecting. Now, at the weekend against Getafe, this coming weekend, we fully expect to be back at Estadio Johan Cruyff for another home game there in front of 6,000 fans, so we are expecting that game to remain where we are. But then in the next home game that we have in the league against Real Sociedad, Barca fully expect to return to the Spotify Camp Nou. They are very much targeting that Real Sociedad game in La Liga with around 27,000 fans in attendance. That will be the first game there back at the stadium, back at our home on the 28th of September. But of course the big question then was going to be, just a few days after that game, we host Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League in what promises to be an absolutely massive game for us. Now, what we're hearing in the media right now is that game, it won't be at Estadio Johan Cruyff, it won't be at the Spotify Camp Nou, it will be at Montjuic in front of, say, 40 to 50,000 fans. So what we have here, the potential of what we have over the next 3 home games, we will be playing, apparently, at 3 different stadiums. Now, Barca, the art of consistency and actually having a familiar surrounding at home, that is lost on them right now. 3 different stadiums in 10 days of football at home? Has that ever been done before? Have you ever heard anything quite like that? And if you also add, by the way, in the middle of all of that, we play Real Oviedo away, and that is a stadium that none of our players have ever played in their lives. And I just think this is extraordinary right here. You know, I understand the situation right now. Obviously, we're trying to return to the Spotify Camp Nou. Maybe it's not all going to be possible to do everything together. But Johan Cruyff Stadium, Camp Nou, Montjuic, it's just hard to get your head around. It's hard to keep up right now with exactly what Barca are planning to do. And of course, there's further complications that may arise down the road here. Because, for instance, if you do play that PSG at Montjuic, at the Olympic Stadium there, it's all good and well. But then UEFA specifically say you must play every league phase game at home in the same stadium, because that was always the concern. Okay, if you go and play one Champions League game away from the Camp Nou, you can't come back. In the league phase, you will have to play every game away from the stadium. Now, what we're hearing in the media is that Barca, they may have convinced UEFA to actually, after the game against PSG, then revert back to the Camp Nou. They may face Olympiacos at home in the Spotify Camp Nou, but that is unconfirmed at this stage. You know, would you be surprised if it turns out that UEFA aren't too happy about that, and they don't agree to that in the end, and we end up playing all of our league phase games at Montjuic, and it's all just a bit confusing. At this point, guys, I think the players, they need to feel familiar in their surroundings, they need to have a consistent base, because ultimately, home advantage, that's supposed to be a big thing. And especially at Barca, you know, we have always thrived upon having that fortress at home, and we do badly miss the Camp Nou. I cannot wait to be back there, and I just want to see us playing there consistently, building up that attendance over time, work continuing on the stadium, and I just hope here we can start to get a bit of a smoother path, starting soon, because all of this is getting quite confusing. But if we do indeed move on to some more news that is coming through right now with regards to that Newcastle game on Thursday, because let's start here with Lamine Yamal, who unfortunately did not train with the rest of the group on Monday in Monday's training session. He remained in the gym for the entirety, and unfortunately, he has also not been able to rejoin the group today in Tuesday's training session. So right here to start off the new week, Yamal, he's clearly not ready, is he? I don't think he's going to be there at all against Newcastle, and I think that would be the right decision. We spoke yesterday about the fact that Barca here, they also have to make sure, they also have a responsibility to protect Lamine as well. So if he's not right, and he's clearly still suffering a little bit of pain, a bit of discomfort, he is not fully recovered yet, and he will not be involved against Newcastle in the Champions League. And again, that just means the rest of the team, they've got to do exactly what they did at the weekend. They've got to step up in his absence. We all understand how important, how key, how instrumental Yamal is in this team. Even at a young age, he already has such an authority in our attacking line, but everybody has to step up in his place. Everybody has to do a bit more. You've got to take advantage of these opportunities that are going to be coming your way. And ultimately now on Thursday in the Champions League, what better moment to stake your claim and to show that you can be important. There has been, though, more positive news when it comes to the fitness and the availability of Frenkie de Jong right now, because he actually returned to full training with the group in Monday's training session. So right now, he is being able to return to the group action, to the full sessions, and the plan has always been with Frenkie, really, to prioritise that Newcastle game in the Champions League. Maybe we could have rushed him back to be involved at the weekend, but I think we've just saved him here, and he is going to be ready. He is going to be available for that game. But I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens against Newcastle, because obviously you've got Frenkie here, top player, very, very important for Hansi Flick. Nobody is denying that. But given that he's only just coming back here, he's only just returning to fitness, and then you add in the performance that we saw from Marc Casado in his place at the weekend against Valencia. Now, of course, Newcastle are going to be a stronger opponent. Certainly, they're a lot higher quality than what Valencia were. But I thought Marc Casado was very impressive in that game. And I think Flick will have a bit of a decision to make in that midfield area. And again, that is what we want. We want Flick here to have lots of different options, lots of different players who are all in form, all pushing to be in this team. That's what you call competition. That is what you call quality depth. And I don't believe that's the only decision Flick will have to make on Thursday. Because the big question that I would like to bring to you guys in today's video is all about the defensive line that we are going to line up with there at St. James's Park in the Champions League. Like I say, it is going to be a big game. We are going to be coming up against an opponent who are going to threaten us, especially they're thinking physically and aerially. That's very, very important ahead of this game. And which partnership would you go with right now at centre-back? That is what I would like to know from you in the comments down below. We know that Pau Cubarsí, he is essentially one of those players you'd probably put in there. You'd probably say, okay, he's the one you try and build around. Who would partner him then? You've got lots of different options. We saw Eric Garcia at the weekend deployed again at centre-back. You've got the potential return of Ronald Araujo. That is something there that certainly from a physical and aerial point of view, he is one that really jumps out at you. Or you have somebody there in Andreas Christensen who kind of ticks all of the boxes. He's somebody who can do a lot of good things, who can be a calming influence, and certainly on the Champions League stage, when things are really ramped up and the pressure is on, he may be able to help us, guys. So if you had to choose right now, looking at the centre-back partnerships that we have, which would be best for this game? Which would you pick to line up against Newcastle and the physical threats they're going to provide? Let me know that in the comments down below here, because I cannot wait for this game. And coming up on the channel tomorrow, we are going to ramp up that build-up. I just can't wait. I cannot wait to get started again in the Champions League. This is where we have to make our mark. This is where we have to stand up as a team. And guys, just let me know how you're feeling right now. I hope that you are enjoying the videos, and a big thank you as well to Kada today, of course. Please do check out their model of the Spotify Camp Nou using that link down below. I really, really will appreciate that, guys. And thank you for all of your support. I will see you soon. But until next time, as always, Veshka, El Barça.